All right, welcome back, everybody. We are back as promised, talking today about version control. I know it feels like it's taken a while to get into actually designing a PCB, but as professional design goes, and this is starting to get into more professional design, that's just how it is. So, with that being said, we're going to go get what's called version control set up. For those who maybe haven't heard that term before, all it really is every time you're essentially trying to save it, you do a task, and then it's good practice to make sure you save it after you succeed in the task. It makes sure that you save it almost as a checkpoint, so that if you try to do something else later, you accidentally save it, the whole thing gets screwed up, gets blown up, yada yada yada. You don't have a working model anymore. Instead of having to try to reverse engineer and get back to where you were before, you can just click a couple things. Go back to your previous version. Everything's all right. So it's rollback is what that's called. So with PCB design, it's not, I've never messed something up so bad that I've had to go back, but I've also never done anything super complicated. And it's always nice to know you have that in your back pocket if needed. So to do that, I've done some digging around, and it seems the best way to do it still is going to be with GitHub. For some of you, you already have a GitHub account. Most of you probably don't. That's going to be part of the process, what we need to do. What this is going to let us do is it's going to let us make a repository where the whole project will be stored. It's going to let us, it's also going to let you guys share it with me so that if you want me to review your work, I can just open it on my computer instead of you having to send screenshots. I think that'll be a lot better than that's really the best way to get it in my hands, is just to let me access the actual model itself. So without further ado, we're just in this video going to focus on getting GitHub set up and get your repository set up. And as a good project manager, we're going to make this a task as this goes. So in the backlog, practicing our wonderful ClickUp skills, set up version control. Going to be our first task, and to do that, we're going to download, use GitHub stop. Is what we're going to do. We're going to add some subtasks to it. Subtask first is going to be download GitHub desktop. And then we're going to go ahead and after that, we're going to sign in. Kind of goes with down. Now we're going to create what's called a repository. So these are all going to be to me. They're all going to be due today. And this should take no more, especially since I have some of it already, in 10 minutes. So it autocorrects to that a lot. I think you gotta, if you type min, it does a lot better. And this one's going towards me. So I'm going to say this is a urgent priority since we're doing it right now. So we'll go ahead, move this into working on. And again, I know this is laborious. This took probably a minute and a half, but you'll thank yourself later. And one of the reasons you'll thank yourself later is when you think about doing this again, you're going to say, oh, how did I kick off last time? And then you can just go back into your backlog, into your finished task, and you say, oh, that's where I was, right? So it's not just about collecting the data, organizing everything. It's not about doing it right the first time. You could get it done right without all of it. But it's more about so you can do it again and again and do it faster the next time and the next time, the next time, right? So that's why we're doing this. And that's why I want to stay diligent about doing it. So, and after we get KiCad set up, we'll spend some time actually building this out to be a full project structure instead of just one-offs. But we're going to set up version control. So the first thing we have to do is download GitHub desktop. I have it downloaded already. Where you'll find it is just by typing in GitHub desktop. Here, most of you are going to be Windows. There's a Mac one. I'm assuming that's I've never done Mac. If you have issues, let me know. Windows is simple. I had to do Fedora Linux because I'm running Linux. So if you happen to be a Linux user, it is available in Flatpak. That's just how I got it. So FlatHub, Flatpak has it. I doubt that means anything to anyone, but should be for everybody. So once you get that downloaded, you have to sign in. If you don't have an account, you'll just have to make one. I think the app will direct you there. Otherwise, just go to github.com, create your account. It should be pretty. I'm assuming you've signed up for enough things now that you can figure out how that goes. So, because you need an account to hook it up to GitHub Desktop, and eventually to share it with me. Once you have that, as you can see, the SLED PCB. This was the project Watson and Carter and I worked on a while back. So we had a working repository for it. But in your case, you're starting fresh and you're doing your own project. We're not all working on one. So what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to, there's a lot of ways to create a repository. You can do it on here. You can do it on the web and hit new, do it all there. And then what you'll end up doing is clone it. I want to try this and create it within here. So repository name. I'm just going to call it example board. You can call it whatever you want. Example board for teaching basics of KiCad, PCB design. Local path. For most people, it's going to go in your documents. I like it living there, so I'm going to choose it to be there. Initialize it with a README. You know, that README is the first thing. When you go to someone's repository, you're going to try to read the README. It's going to tell you what you need to install, how you can use it, yada, yada. If we were really open sourcing this big time for people, I would say, yeah, we need a README, and it's probably good practice, but I'm not good on this one. Git ignore, we are going to have one. And actually, I just realized, so git ignore is essentially going to allow you to filter out all your temp files. Because if you have a temporary file and it doesn't get deleted in time and you go push it, or if you have a sensitive file that you don't want out on the internet, like an API key, you can use that file as a dot ignore. You can put it in there and it will not send it up to your GitHub. So we actually have a nice little one for KiCad. So we're going to go ahead and have the git ignore for KiCad. And again, it's not public. You can read up on what these licenses are. It changes how people can use your repository. We're not doing anything important here. So you don't need a license. So let's go ahead and create it. Once we create, it's going to be here, and then you need to hit publish. And you don't have, I'm not going to keep mine private so that you guys can always check up on mine if you really do. You can clone it and see how my design is. It's totally fine if you guys want to keep yours private so that the rest of the internet can't see it. There's a very low chance anyone's going to come across it anyway, but just for the sake of privacy, go ahead and keep it private, but I'm going to keep it public so you guys can share it with you. So under github.com, we're going to go ahead and publish it. Take a second, and there we go. So now if I reload my GitHub, I'm trying to remember, we can call it example board. There we go. So this is my example board repository. Check this getting. I'm going to have, yeah, I think that's actually, let's go ahead. So this is the new repository. And I'm going to go ahead and put this. You guys can go to this link and find it. Otherwise, I'm going to toss it in. I'm going to toss it in here in my design decisions. So, repository. be good for you to have this link somewhere for yourself. So if you guys want to go look at mine, you can go on here. If you want to have it permanently stored on yours, you can go ahead and hit clone and hit URL, and you can put my in because I have it. And then you can hit clone, and then you can keep up with what mine looks like if I make any adjustments or if you want to look at it. So that's setting up your GitHub. There's more that we'll go into when we start actually designing, but let's get to this spot. And then for everybody here, this will be interesting. So here's what because I want you to share it with me. So we're probably going to have it do is you'll have to go up here to repository, should have this tab, and you'll want to go on Git. And then you want to go to settings. We want to put a collab to this key. GitHub's got some pretty good. So this is a temporary passcode, so it doesn't matter to see it because it'll be gone in 15 seconds. All right. Public repository. Yes. You want to invite me as a, if you, especially if it's private, you want to invite me as a collaborator. If it's not private, just send me the link. But if you're doing private, want to add me as a person, and you're going to look for Ben Techland 11. That should get you there. And if it can't, you can try at gmail.com. So put that in. That should work. So that's the version control. And get to this spot, and we'll hopefully boot up KiCad. Well, I'm probably going to talk about what we're building, and then we'll boot up KiCad next. Keep on going, guys, and I will talk to you later. Well, actually, got to do the satisfying. Both of these. Now we can put that in our. Talk to you guys next time.